All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people out there just like you and just like me. Another A-list, largely unheralded guitarist is about to release an album that most of the rock world will likely ignore, except for his hardcore fans and people who've been really paying attention to his work over the past 10 to 12 years. He has really hit a creative streak, if you want to call it that. And he's 76 years old and really shows no signs of stopping. His name is Robin Trower. And if you know Robin Trower, you probably know him because of Bridge of Sighs or Two Rolling Stoned. But this is a guy who's had an amazing career. I really picked up on Robin Trower in the late 1980s. Now, again, people forget that the blues rock genre was really starting to pick up steam throughout the end of the 1980s on rock stations, even on top 40, believe it or not, with guys like Jeff Healey, who was really beginning to cross over into all formats. But you had guys like Robin Trower and Gary Moore and Robert Cray and obviously Eric Clapton and Johnny Winter and Buddy Guy and even John Lee Hooker. All of these guys were coming out with records that had a more contemporary finish to them, but really still, burn that torch for old school blues rock in the way that classic rock from the 60s and 70s, that era was allowed to kind of have a bit of a rebirth until the grunge apocalypse hit and not only took out all of the hair metal and the glitzy, cheesy stuff that people say is glitzy and cheesy. Some of it I really love because it's melodic. It also took out the very serious blues guitar slingers, and Robin Trower was on that list because he was getting some decent airplay with albums he had in 1988 and 1990 because I was there, and we put them in our format alongside all of the Led Zeppelin and Rolling Stones and everything else from the past. And of course, it worked wonders. Most classic rock stations were playing Bridge of Sighs and Two Rolling Stoned and some of the other Trower songs. But what's disturbing is that this guy has been around all this time and gets very little attention from the media, who tends to highlight these unknown bands that have small followings, but they do crazy gimmicky things to get attention. Robin Trower isn't the guy with the gimmicks. He's the guy with the guitar, and he can play it like few people. I'll say this: if you like Jimi Hendrix, right, you like his tone and his style of playing, you're going to hear a lot of that in what Robin Trower does, but you're also going to hear other elements, acid rock, a lot of psychedelic stuff thrown in there, which of course Hendrix did those things, but Trower has a very unique, greasy, gritty playing style that, again, maybe it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you like good, solid blues rock, you're going to love this new album that's coming out by Robin Trower. The title track is out there. It's called No More Worlds to Conquer. Could be about U.S. foreign policy. I don't know. But the little bio here says, for more than 6 decades, Robin Trower's career has known no bounds. At the age of 76, the British guitarist can reflect on a journey in which he has planted flags across the musical sphere and played every imaginable role. He's been the driving force and maybe horse behind 60s icons Procol Harum, the transatlantic solo star who filled U.S. stadiums with 1974's Bridge of Sighs, has also been a collaborator and also an elder statesman songwriter whose recent creative period still crackles with invention. I think that is an apt way to talk about Robin Trower. I've heard this song and a couple of other songs on this record, and I think this is going to be a late in his career masterpiece. His last few albums have been spectacular, and this one I think is really going to add to it. Once again, Trower also handles bass duties, but as a lifelong servant of the song over his own ego, he didn't hesitate to enlist other musicians. Chris Taggart is playing drums. He's a wonderful drummer, and he's done the last 3 or 4 albums. And I started to realize after I tried to sing these songs myself that I wasn't vocally up to it. The interesting thing is Robin Trower has actually been singing on his more recent works, which is a bit of a change because typically he would have a vocalist. And this time he's actually gone back to that formula. Richard Watts is the singer. He's got a fantastic soulful voice, and he's willing to get it exactly how I'm hearing it in my head. The other great thing about having Richard along is there's quite a few songs on this album that I wouldn't be able to play and sing live at the same time. So Trower on this record addresses some of the contemporary problems which are befuddling the entire globe. There's 3 or 4 songs that cover what I'm thinking about. The Razor's Edge, Cloud Across the Sun. Those are definitely about my dissatisfaction with the politicians of the day, pointing the finger at the ones that don't keep their promises. But then with Deadly Kiss, another song from the album, the lyric is someone talking to a friend who has become a junkie. There's broken-hearted songs and there's love songs. He says, it was difficult, but I'm glad I did it. This album is an evolution from a guy who's 76 years old. I'm hoping that's what is always happening with my music. There's a huge step between Bridge of Sighs and now. It's like anything, the more you work on it, in theory, the better you should be at it. And I definitely feel like this album is one of the best things I've ever done. 11 songs on this new album called No More Worlds to Conquer by a guy who essentially has conquered the guitar and doesn't get a lot of ink or media attention. And it's kind of sad. You know, I see again, like Guitar Shorty passes away and that's a little news blip in a few places and that's about it. And John Mayall, he stops performing. I mean, 89 years old, a legend, and again, doesn't get any media attention for that. So I'm calling attention to Robin Trower because I think he's amazing. And I don't care how old he is. If he can get out there and play guitar, you know, and put out music as good as what I think is coming, it's all worth it. And who knows? He says it's an evolution. So at 76, he might have a lot more to do, and we can only hope that's the case. So there you have it, Robin Trower. If you're interested in maybe pre-ordering this album, you can do so via Provogue, I think is the name of the record label. And I know if you do a little Googling or a little DuckDuckGoing, that's what I prefer, is using DuckDuckGo, although none of these search engines are perfect, and oftentimes they'll take you away from a subject instead of towards it. And I'm hoping that in this case, even though this guy isn't your mainstream glam rocker, that they will find a way to, you know, get you to where you need to go, at least to hear the first single, which is the title track. Again, it's called No More Worlds to Conquer. And I think this is going to be a great album from the one and only Robin Trower. All right, people, thanks for tuning in, for watching these videos, for subscribing, for checking out Patreon. Had a couple of new patrons come through the last few days, and I really appreciate that. Until next time, I, of course, will see you soon.